Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast and Happy New Year. So I think we're a couple weeks into January at this point.
I think we are.
Yeah.
No, at least 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, we are. And how's it all going for you all? Do you have New Year's resolutions that you're working on? I see everybody at the grocery store the other day. I was just kind of paying a little bit more attention. Well, I was paying attention. I normally don't pay attention to what people are buying, but, I see people buying the healthy organic stuff. And I think it's just something we're doing. We're all doing the let's get healthy, let's eat better, let's lose the weight, let's do dry January. That's very popular here right now. And I'm wondering how you all are doing.
It's a 6-week push, right?
The statistics show that we talked about this in another episode.
Yeah.
By February, basically 14th, it's all fallen off.
Yeah.
It's all gone to shit.
I mean, that's pretty impressive. You can get in shape or into a better spot in 6 weeks.
If you're there 6 weeks in, I would say don't stop. Just keep going.
Well,
because that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not many see it that way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Today, everyone, I'm going to coach you up. This is a tough one, right? We're going to coach you up on something that I have had to swallow and listen to and pay attention to, mostly as, well, for 20 years as a triathlete, but now as a small business owner, and really more because I've been a small business owner, it hasn't been as challenging. When I went to level up in my business with podcasting and with all the things I'm doing with speaking, it's been in running my own really small entrepreneurial business. This is something that I have had to employ over and over again. So we're going to get into it. So this is going to be I'm going to coach you up. It's a tough one today. So buckle up and get ready for the ride.
What's the topic?
I'll tell you in a minute. First, before we get there, and I tell you what the topic is, I want to talk to you about my group coaching. If you are interested in working with me and you're thinking, you know what, I just can't do the one-on-one right now, I can't pay for it, this is your way in, okay? I'm keeping this small group on purpose. So you're not somebody who's just sitting in the back row. Like, think about when you're back in class. You're not sitting in the back row. I'm not ignoring you or, try not to be seen, or I know I've done that and I've tried to not be seen before. This is you in a class, so to speak. It's on Zoom, and we are going through emotional mastery. I'm teaching you the skills that I wish I had learned 30 years ago. Okay. I'm taking decades of schooling and continuing education and knowledge, as well as life experience, and I'm sharing it with all of you. Okay. It's a fraction of the price. I want you in there. So if you're somebody who's been working on your confidence and it still feels shaky for you, there's a reason. Because most people, they try to, I think, air quote, think their way into confidence. But confidence is built when you can handle what you feel without spiraling. And I think, and well, I know that that's a skill. That's not something that we were taught by our parents, okay? We felt our feelings and we just felt them and we got dysregulated, and that's okay. But we didn't know how to come down from spiraling or being dysregulated, all right? So what often happens is we start learning how to master our emotions. We stop living in that loop of we get triggered and then we are reactive to someone or a situation, and then we feel guilty because of the way we acted or what we said or maybe what we felt on the inside. Then we tell ourselves, okay, I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better. But then we repeat it because we don't know how to do better. We don't know how to change things, okay? So here's what changes. You become someone who can stay calm under pressure. You learn to communicate clearly, and you learn how to hold boundaries without a shame hangover. And you can make decisions now without second guessing yourself for 3 days after, like I used to do. Okay. So we're starting on January 21st. It's 6 weeks long. It's $497. And I'm telling you, I'm capping it at 10 people. Okay. Because you're getting my focused attention and real time coaching. Okay. That's the thing. I have been in groups. I've been in coaching groups of 30, 40, 200 people. Forget it. I just stopped doing it. You're just really, I mean, you can put your questions in the chat and the admin will sometimes answer it or the assistant will answer it. But I never really got the main big life coach that I wanted to answer my question. I said, forget it. I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah, it was $97 or $197 or $300, but it wasn't worth my time.
Yeah.
This is what I wish I had years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is truly based off of the date. This is truly last call.
This is last call.
This is last call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that you're going to hear about this on the
Totally.
podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're ready for 2025, that's interesting.
26.
Yeah, I'm like weird. It's weird for me to say that. If you are ready for your 2026 to really feel and be different for you, I want to see you there. Okay. So check the show notes. It's and grab your spot. Okay. I want you in there. All right. I'm telling you, you're not going to regret it.
Nice.
Okay. And you may hear our dogs, our hounds in the background barking away while I'm talking, but that's just our life. We've got dogs and they bark.
That's how they do.
They're barking at the trash guys right now. Okay. So here's what the episode is about. I'm talking to you today about excuses versus reasons.
Gosh.
This is a hard one. This is a hard coaching.
How many conversations have you and I had about this topic in the last 20 years?
And I think it's worth having over and over and over again. This is something that I say on repeat to my coaching clients. If you've ever been coached by me, you're going, oh, yeah, I know. Let's talk about this. And it's something that's tough to hear. And oftentimes you don't want to hear. But I have to tell you all, oftentimes the things you don't want to hear are the things you need to hear. Right. And a lot of people in your life, your friends, your family members, your coworkers, they're not going to tell you the things that me as a coach is going to tell you. You need to hear this. Okay. And I know I've needed to hear it. You've needed to hear it. Sometimes we have to have, I think, a really good friend. I think a really good, sometimes family member is the person who will speak the truth in love. So I don't have the nasty delivery or the mean delivery or watch your tone, but speak the truth to me. Speak the truth. And I have had that done to me. I don't want to hear it at the time. I don't want to hear it. I'm like, oh, okay, just stop. Because I know it's true. And I think that it's important. So that's what this whole episode is about. Okay. So we're going to go through excuses versus reasons in your life. All right.
This ought to be highly entertaining.
So I'm going to talk to you about how you can stop lying to yourself without shaming yourself. Okay. So you can tell the difference for yourself in your life about, well, life just happened versus, no, I opted out of that. Really important difference. That's a big differentiator there. And we're going to suss out how that's different. Okay. All right. So what is a reason? What is a reason? A reason is something that's true for you, something that's constraint-based and reality tested. Okay. I'm going to repeat that. It's truth for you. It's constraint-based and it's reality tested. So let's say a reason might be like a real obstacle for you in your life. Like maybe it's time, maybe it's money, maybe it's childcare, you name it, illness, injury. You just don't have the capacity. You've got deadlines. Those are reasons why something maybe is not getting done or you're not, throwing your name in the hat for something. Reasons include ownership. All right. So you may say to yourself, given my reality right now, I'm choosing to do but blank, blank, blank. It comes with a plan or a trade-off when you have reasons for yourself, right? So you say, I can't do this, so I'm going to do like the X instead. I'm going to do this instead. Those are reasons, all right? So when we tell ourselves or tell others reasons, what it sounds like is, this is what I can do inside my real life right now. Those are reasons, okay? Versus an excuse.
So here's where you've lost me already.
Okay.
And you and I have talked about this. I mean, you and I have had this conversation hundreds of times, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking about a reason, and you said it's the truth for you, right? That's what you said.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it not just the truth, period? Why does it have to be just the truth for the person that's offering the reason?
What do you mean?
Like it should, in my opinion, if it's a reason, it should be fact. And it doesn't have to be truth for me or just for you. It's just truth, I think.
So I think about, my clients and they've given me, and this is what I've had, especially as a triathlete with my coaches. I have had times when I have not been able to get up at 5 or 6 a.m. because I didn't sleep all night because I had a sick kid.
Yeah.
So I didn't go to the pool. I didn't swim. That was a reason. That was true. It was true. I had a sick kid and I would email my coach, he knew it, she knew it. And okay, there's nothing to say to that. Okay, you're exhausted. What you need to do, Anna, is you need to like take a break and just maybe take the day off. Actually, don't even do that 45-minute run tonight. Take the day off. Let's start tomorrow. Hopefully your kid's feeling better.
Yeah.
And excuses, I've had a long day. I'm really tired. And let's say I have to go sit on the bike for an hour and it's 6 o'clock, 6:30. I can do it. I can do it. I just don't want to do it because I'm tired and it's been
Yeah.
a long day. And I have said that before. And my coaches have said, get it done. They don't want to hear get it. I've had, 3 words in a sentence, an email, Anna, 4 words, Anna, get it done.
Yeah.
They don't care
Yeah.
because they knew, and I knew my life plan when I signed up for them to be my coach. I knew that my life was busy. I knew I had a full-time job and 5 kids and a house to run and meals to prepare and all that. So, okay, I'm paying them. I'm paying them to see through all the stuff.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah. But I think your truth in that statement is that you're tired, right? You didn't get a good night's sleep. Like that's all true. Are you embracing it a little too much? And then that turns into a reason. Maybe that's what it is,
You could.
right?
Well, I could do that. I could have done that all the time, and then I would never have gotten where I did in triathlon.
Yeah.
Tim, I could have made excuses and told them they were reasons for so many different things in my life when it came to
Yeah,
sport.
yeah. No, I know, but I mean, for you and I think it's like you and I have these conversations about, well, that's just an excuse, right? Well, I don't know if it always is. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't
Well,
know.
we're going to
that it's-
disagree. We're going to
Yeah,
disagree because I
yeah,
don't. I'll go further with it, but we don't.
yeah,
We may disagree on this.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So let me go into what is an excuse. An excuse is something so this might help you understand a little bit more. Excuse is something that's self-protective. It's story-based. It's a story we tell ourselves. It is avoidance forward. Okay. So that's really important. That's very different from when I just said what reasons are, right? So making excuses, it's describing a narrative for you. So I'm just not motivated, or it's just not the right time. I'm tired. I've worked all day. It's just I have to get on the bike now. It's just not the right time. You know how many times I could have done that? I would have been making so many excuses for myself.
Yeah.
Or I work better under pressure. So I can't do this right now. I'm putting it off. I'm going to procrastinate because I just work better under pressure. It minimizes, when we make excuses, it minimizes your own agency. So it minimizes my ability, my agency over myself to know that I can get things done.
Yeah.
Right? So what happens with excuses is it ends in no action and no cost. So if I made excuses all the time for why I was so busy and tired, then there would be no action. I wouldn't swim. I wouldn't, get up and go to the pool. I wouldn't, or swimming. Sometimes I was swimming at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon in between clients. I would never do that because I'd have all kinds of what I would say are reasons in my head.
Right.
But at some point, my coach called me out and she said, "You're giving me excuses.
Yeah.
These are not reasons, Anna."
Yeah.
Like, wah, wah. Okay.
So I see a world where a reason, which is truth, can be a reason, and then up to a point it turns into an excuse. When the person uses that and starts to embellish the story a little bit.
And that's what I see as a coach.
Right.
So as a life coach and a high performance coach, that's what I see. And let me tell you, everybody, this is not, little old me or Tim or little old any of you who are listening to this podcast. This is everyday people. And these are high performers. These are people who are 6 and 7 figure individuals. I've heard, they've said this to me. You please don't think that you're alone in this. If any of this so far is resonating for you, this is really, really common. I will give clients action steps and they will give me what in the beginning, especially when they're new to me, what are reasons why they didn't get their action steps done that we both agreed to.
Yeah.
I don't give my clients action steps that they don't agree to at the time of the call. I'm not going to write something down that they're like, I don't want to do that. Okay, well, this is your life. I'm coaching you. If you don't want to do it, we're not going to do it. Of course. But they have agreed to it and then they don't do it. Okay. Maybe the first 2 sessions, maybe, maybe it depends on each person, but like maybe I've noticed they're not doing what they said they do. I'm like, okay. And they're telling me why. I'm like, okay. But then you start to notice patterns.
Mhm.
So I'm always looking for patterns. I've had coaching clients who they just don't do it. And they tell me they are excuses. It's not a reason. It's, well, I just couldn't get, I don't know. I couldn't get the kids out the door. No, and we'll get into this. If you have a legit, like you have like insomnia, you have sleep issues, we got to work around that.
Yeah.
That's different. You
Yeah.
you do have reasons. You actually have a medical clinical issue if you have insomnia. I'm trying to think of, you know, examples where, I just didn't do it. It's just hard for me. So I didn't do it. Well, you're not going to have any changes in your life. We're not going to see behavior change because you're not doing thinking change first, cognitive change. So of course there's no behavior change. And so those people, those are excuses they give. And I see it week in and week out or month in and month out. And then I'm like, okay, well, what are we doing here? Maybe this is not the time for you right now to be coached because you really are coming up. This is no longer reasons. These are excuses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that, I mean,
No, that makes sense. I think so. If you take your sleep one as an example, I mean, if your athlete says, "Oh, I didn't get a good night's sleep last night. I didn't sleep well," right? That's a reason. That's truth. It happened, right? But could they maybe get up and work out,
there you
go
go.
to the training session? Possibly.
So we'll get into that.
So
Yes.
so then if they start
So
to
what are the accommodations?
right, but so then if they start to embellish their story and like, well, my kid had a restless night's sleep, or the dog woke me up in the like all the things that maybe could have happened, but like, did it really happen? Right.
Right.
But they start to use those things to make that I didn't sleep well or get a good night's sleep more real for them. And then I think then it turns into an excuse.
And I think as coaches,
right
as
away.
you as a triathlon coach and me as a life coach, I think as coaches, you have to agree with this because I know, because like you said, we've talked about it. You start in the beginning, you have the same thing with your clients. You're like, okay, I don't really know them that well, especially a newer person. Okay, they didn't show up to the run. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Then you have people who, we saw this all the time. The swim was from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. There was a person who always got out of the water 6:45 because the last 15 minutes we were doing some more sprint intervals in the water. It was some hard work. Always got at 6:45. I got to go. Some people did. Some people had to get out and get in the shower because they had to take their kids to their sport.
Sure.
Some people just are like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. You know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
And you had clients who you were doing run sessions with who just, you would tell me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I mean, I love her. She's the sweetest person. It had nothing to do with who they were as a person, but they were making excuses.
Yeah.
They're just like, yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And they would give you some excuse, and it was an excuse, and you and I both knew it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, okay. And you know what I thought to myself? I thought, she must not have, or he must not have. I was always curious about what their goals were. And some of those people were like, you know what? I don't have goals for triathlon. I just want to join your group and I just want to run. And I don't have any races planned. And I just want to be here on a Wednesday night running with all of you. And if I don't want to do the whole thing and I come late, then, and you were like, that's fine.
That's another one, right?
Well, that's fine.
Showing
that's fine.
up 5 minutes late every time.
But yeah, there was, and that's after a while you start to see these are excuses.
Yeah.
But then you had the person who they had a whole like list of races they wanted to do that summer.
Yeah.
Or for the next, 6 months. And then there was always like, oh, I can't, today you started to hear it, like lamenting.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. And you it's funny because as other athletes are in that group, we started to also see the excuses too. It's like,
for sure.
We all kind of knew it.
We were all on to you, right?
Yeah.
We're on to you.
And it's okay. That's fine. No one really cares. Everybody's there really
Yeah.
for themselves. And we love being around you and the camaraderie of being around you. But
Yeah.
you do you, boo. Like you do you. But you would say to me, this person wants to like get in their age group at this race. And they have excuses for why they can't do the workouts. And I would think I'm preaching to the choir with you around excuses.
No, for sure. For sure. And I think that's probably the biggest takeaway you, the listener, will get from this episode is like, we all are in the shoes of that person sometimes, right? We're all
every one of us.
Yeah. So
every one of us.
So just be aware of, as you process your inside yourself, the reason or excuse for you why you're not going to go and do something. Try and figure out what you're doing with that inside your own head. Right?
Exactly.
Right?
So that's a time for you to be real honest with yourself.
Yes.
About what are your motivations here? What is your why? Ask yourself your why. Why are you here? Why are you doing this? And why are you possibly making excuses? And do you have legitimate good reasons for yourself? So here's something a little bit of a takeaway just in this first part. So reasons produce adjustments in your life. When you make reasons, then usually you're going to make an adjustment for yourself. Excuses produce relief. So when you're making excuses, you're looking for relief for some reason.
Yeah.
And that's something for only you to look at within yourself. And this is what I do in my one-on-one coaching with my clients as we really get into that.
Yeah.
We're going to do that deep dive into, okay, what are you looking for relief from? Okay. So let's get into
Well,
this. Go
and
ahead.
just another thing too, I think, shouldn't you, I would hope you would coach, I'm sure you do, you coach people to like, as they're processing this, they're going through those stages, right? Where you're like, okay, inside my head, in real time for me, I'm offering up a reason, but I'm spinning it now into an excuse. Like,
Yes.
just be aware of when you start to spin, right? I would think that would be amazing advice for somebody because we all go through this.
Well, with my coaching clients, I'm gentle but firm, and it's the biggest compliment I've received from my coaching clients is they've always said to me, Anna, you're direct, you're firm, but you're warm. And that's how I want to be. And I so appreciate when they gave me that feedback that, but no, but you do tell us, how many times have I had to tell people, they give me and we are all busy. These are not, these are busy people who have children, who are running businesses, who have, 30 employees to 300 employees. They are very busy people, and they're making excuses for what they said they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Even being coached, you're making excuses. And sometimes I have to call that out and say, what are you doing? No. You need to find a reason. Then you need to get up 30 minutes earlier and you need to spend that time alone. Damn it. Get that coffee, spend that time alone and meditate and pray.
Yeah.
Go do it.
Get it done.
Or get it done. And I'll get her done. Get it done. Like, no, you're giving me excuses at this point. Get up 30 minutes early or go on your lunch hour and go work out. You want to lose 20 pounds by this family reunion, or you got your high school reunion coming up and you want to be rocking it and that outfit that you want to get in, then get to the gym. You said you wanted to do it. Go, get going. I seriously, I always want my clients, I say this to them, and I would say this to any of you that I might work with in the future. Think of me at mile 20 of the marathon and you're running up and there I am, I'm waiting for you and I'm running beside you. And I'm like, no, you got this. I know you feel like quitting. I know your legs are killing. I know that your shoulders, everything hurts, but you have to go. You got this. You've done the work. The hay is in the barn. Go get it done. We'll see you at the finish line.
Yeah.
I love that. I think I've had that done with me. You've been that way with me. It's amazing. And that's what I do for you.
Yeah.
And no, and they actually, that person, those marathoners, they actually have a reason to stop. But I'm not letting them make any excuse. They actually have a reason.
They have many reasons
but they've
to stop.
worked too freaking hard to get to that start line of that marathon day.
Yeah.
They've done 6 months of training, let's say. They work too hard. There's no way I'm letting them stop. And if you have to walk, if you have to crawl through that finish line, that's what you do.
Yeah.
When I did Memphis in 2021, I trained so hard for that during COVID. And I was having other issues. I'm always in physical therapy for some kind of ache or pain. And then was killing it. I did okay on the swim, but I was killing on the bike. It's pouring down rain for this half Ironman, 56 miles, driving rain. The rain was coming in sideways. And it was October in Memphis. The leaves are falling. The roads are covered with leaves. And there are a lot of corners on backcountry roads. And I was like saying my prayers that I wasn't going to wipe out in these corners, that my tires slipping on the leaves. But I did really well. I mean, I killed it on that bike. I was so proud of my time. I thought, okay, I got off that bike, started that run. I'm like, okay, my time. I actually might be able to make it on the podium in this half Ironman. Like I might make it on the podium in my age group. Lo and behold, mile 4, something in my knee starts bothering me. My knee, I've never have had knee problems in my life. I've IT band. I've got issues with my butt, gluteus.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been sidelined an entire season with Achilles tendonitis. I've had stress fractures. I've never had knee pain. Mile 4 or mile 3 or 4, my knee starts like, okay, what's going on? So I have to slow down. And then I have to walk. And then I'm doing a walk jog. And I'm looking at my time. People are passing me that I passed on the bike. I could cry thinking about this because this is the competitive piece of me coming out. I'm seeing guys and gals that I pass on the bike passing me now. You watching, Tim, you've been
Mhm.
there so many times. Like you watch yourself slow down. You can't do anything. Knee pain, you can't do anything about knee pain. You can't run
Yeah.
through knee pain. I mean, that's a pain that just literally no pun intended, but it will bring you to your knees. So I got to the point. I remember this one guy, this huge triathlete guy. He was like cheering everybody on. That's a wonderful thing about these races is people are so positive and pushing each other. And I was like walking at mile 7 or 8, and he's like, "Oh, it's you." He's like, I saw you back there on the bike. You look so great. It's you." He's like, and he's calling out my bib number. He's like, 2305. He's like, "I saw you." He's like, "Keep going. Come on, come on." He's like, "You got this. You got this. Just keep moving forward." Cause I was walking and I was like starting to cry inside, like starting to cry a little bit. Cause you start to go, okay, no, I'm not on the podium. Okay. Now I'm not going to be the first 10 women that come through. Okay, well now I'm gonna be maybe in the first 30, middle of the pack. And then he said that to me, and I said to myself, I said it out loud. I said, "Oh no, I'm not getting out of this race," because I wasn't gonna DNF, did not finish. I'm like, "Oh no, I'll be there. I'm finishing this race. Even if I have to crawl, I'm getting that damn medal."
Yeah.
And I ended up I walked. I was in so much pain. I walked 5 miles.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
Lots of people.
It's not a good feeling.
So I could have made excuses for myself, and I
Sure.
had a legitimate excuse, and
Yeah.
I truly had physical pain. But like me coaching you on the sidelines of a marathon, or you coaching somebody, or me coaching you in your life, no, 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 no. You signed up for this. You do want this, but you're at a place now where it's really, really, really hard. I get that. You're in the trenches and you want out. No, no,
Yeah.
no. You're not getting out. I'm going to jump down in there with you. We're going to do this together.
Yeah.
And so I had to do that for myself at mile 8 of that race.
Yeah.
So there's your example of excuses
Well, and I
versus
think that's
reasons.
a perfect example of like a reason and an excuse. There's a gray fuzzy area in the middle, right? Because you had a whole list of reasons,
Yeah.
right, that were actually truth, not just your truth. They were truth, right?
Yeah.
A ton
Yeah,
of them.
yeah.
Yeah. And then, but you didn't embrace them, and you didn't spin them, and you didn't embellish any of them to turn them into an excuse to pull yourself off the race course.
I wasn't going to listen to the part of my brain that this happens, I think, with so many of us.
Yeah.
I refused to listen to the part of my brain that made excuses because there's always that little inner devil voice that's going, "You can stop. You
Yeah.
can stop. You should stop. You really don't feel good.
Yeah.
Your knee really hurts. You should stop and it'd be fine.
That's
Nobody
the,
would
you know who that
fault you
is?
for that, Anna.
Yeah.
You can stop." You know how many times I've heard that voice in
Yes.
races or
It's,
doing anything really, really hard?
yeah.
You know how many times I hear that now with like planning, like to put myself out there, to speak, to get on stages. Not so much podcasting because I've gotten so used to this, and I absolutely, I love it. I love everything I do, but some things are harder for me than others. Writing my book is very hard for me, and there's always a voice that goes, "Come on, you don't need to do that. It's okay. You'll be fine. No one will. No one. No, come on.
Yeah.
You should maybe stop."
Yeah.
There you go. But I refuse to listen to that
Don't listen.
in races. I'm like, "Get out of here.
It's the
You're not welcome here."
it's the excuse fairy talking to you.
It's the excuse fairy, and I tell that excuse fairy, "Go over there, sit down, and shut up." You no longer have a voice in my head.
But that fairy continues to buzz, though, right? For all of us, that fairy is
In
a
life.
very tempting voice to listen
And
to.
unfortunately, everybody, the fairy will be there at your next workout.
Not
the fairy,
wrong.
The fairy will be there the next time you need to speak.
Yeah.
The fairy will be there the next time you need to send tough email or have a hard conversation in life with your spouse, your life partner, your boyfriend, girlfriend. It'll be there
Yeah.
telling you, just don't have this conversation because it's really hard. So don't
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the psychology underneath all of this? Okay. Why do excuses feel so convincing for us? Okay. So, first, I want to say excuses are not about laziness. It's never about laziness. They're usually doing one of 3 jobs. Number one, they're protecting your identity. So, you may say to yourself, if I try and fail, What does that say about me? So the brain it's going to choose, don't try. If you don't try, you don't risk shame. Okay, so this is now we're going underneath the hood here. Okay, so it might be protecting your identity when you make excuses. Number two, you may be avoiding emotional discomfort by making excuses. So growth costs something. It always costs something. Boredom, don't we know, hours and hours on the bike, on a trainer, boring. Effort, awkwardness for you, maybe a sense of vulnerability. Maybe it's going to require more discipline for you. Excuses are the brain's way of saying, I don't want to pay that price today. I don't want to do that. I don't pay that price. So I'm not going to. So I'm going to think of a reason why.
Yeah.
To your point exactly about everything I just talked about with making excuses. Number two, it's dodging responsibility. So this is not in a moralistic way. Please don't take it that way. It's more like, so if it's not my fault, I don't have to change it. So think about this in other arenas in your life. So if it's not my fault, then I don't have to change it, right? That might be you making excuses. So an excuse often contains a real reason. That's what you were grappling with right now, going back and forth. Like for many people, there is a real reason in there, but it's wrapped in a story that lets you let yourself off the hook completely.
Wrapped in a story.
There you go.
There you go.
So there's the answer, Tim. That's why I was waiting to get to it.
Yeah.
So oftentimes, like even with me, like that day at that race, yes, I did have reasons. And so if I wanted to make an excuse, I'd wrap it in a story like I was kind of doing on the run route.
Yeah.
And then like nobody will fault me because I have a knee injury.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
And my story makes sense.
And my story makes sense. So excuses versus reasons. I know that's why this is a tough one.
Yeah. Isn't it also like it's almost like self-preservation, isn't it? Right?
Sure. For a lot of people. Sure.
Like you're spinning this story because you think that you need to protect yourself from something else. Right? Whether it's something physical or not, it doesn't matter. But like you're trying to keep yourself out of that situation.
Right.
So you come up with this crazy story inside your own self, and then you got to figure out how to like get somebody to buy it.
Right.
Right. And that's the tough part is like, I got to sell this thing now.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a diagnostic for you to think about excuse versus reasons in your own life. Okay. So some little tests for you to think about. Okay. Here's the trade-off test. The trade-off test, a reason. You might say, I can't do the full thing, so I'm going to do the small version. I can't work out for 45 minutes, so I'm just going to get 15 in. That's a good one. Here's an excuse. I can't do the full thing, so I'm doing nothing. I'm not doing it. I'm not working out today. I can't do the full thing. I can't participate fully in that team meeting, that team group, so I'm just not going. I'm going to blow it off and find a reason to know. I'm just not going to go, and I'll find a reason or an excuse. We'll make it I'll make it a reason, but it's an excuse. I can't participate. I can't go.
I don't know. I think both of those are excuses.
Okay. So I can't do 45 minutes, so I'm going to do 12. I think that's a really good reason. I love that. Excuses, I can't do 45, so what's the point? I can't go to the 45-minute class, so what's the point? I'm not going. You're making an excuse. You could go to that class and you could leave a little bit early.
Well, and I could also say,
except for the guy in your swim class who left every single week.
Yeah. But
I am done now.
But I could also say that you could stay the whole time. You could stay the whole time. Like you don't really have a reason. You have lots of excuses. Right? There's no reason why
Well, we don't know.
Can't.
Okay, everybody has to think about this for themselves. Maybe it's like I can't do 45 minutes because I have to get in the shower and get on the road because I have a meeting at 7 a.m. in the city.
Maybe.
Exactly. I mean, you know people who would leave your early morning classes because people would say to you, "Hey, I got a meeting, I gotta go." And usually it was funny. They would tell you ahead of time, "I need to leave," because there were people who stayed the whole time. So hey, Tim, just want you to know, I know because I was in your classes. Versus. I think about the one person in particular who every week got out of the pool early, and he is a friend of ours, and he doesn't listen to the podcast. It'd be okay if he did listen to the podcast because I'd give him a hard time about this. He's like, I just don't want to do that part because it was really, really hard.
Yeah.
And it was like, it would say, I don't want to be challenged. I don't want to do that hard swim.
That's fine.
Portion. Okay. All right. Okay. So test 2 is the ownership test. So reasons. You may say to yourself, I choose, I decide, I'm prioritizing.
Mm,
Okay. An excuse might use the words, I can't, they won't. It's just how I am.
mm,
So think about that. Okay. So here's the next test for you, the repeat test. All right. If you've said it 4 months, if you've said it, think of the statement for yourself, think of an excuse. If you've said it 4 months and nothing changes, it's likely an excuse or a reason that requires a real decision. So, this is important nuance here. So, I've got somebody right now who's going through this with their job, and they're really, and they have, and I just said to them yesterday, this has been, we have been talking, this is a coaching client. We've been talking about this for months. Now, so, the wonderful thing about my coaching clients is that we get to know each other, right? And I'm thinking for them. My job is to like, I'm in their life. I'm their third person. And so I start to see the patterns. I start to see the themes. I listen to how I feel when I'm in session with them week in and week out. And I said to them, you've been talking about this for months and you are miserable. And so I think that their reason is, I think they need to make a decision. They haven't been making excuses. It never really sounded like it. They are just miserable.
mm,
So but they've stopped. They're not making a decision. And what they need to do is they need to make a decision to either quit their job, renegotiate salary, reduce something in their life workload, or they need to delegate the work that's being like just dumped on them. Right. So this is really important. So if you find yourself repeating something over and over and over in your life, you have to ask yourself, am I making excuses or is there a reason? And then you need to make a decision. People who make excuses don't make decisions. People who have reasons, they've been complaining for months, they know they need to make a decision and often do.
yeah.
I mean, you could think about that. You were in a miserable job
Yeah.
for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And I think you made excuses for a long time.
Oh, for sure. Well, yeah, I mean, and that's a great example because I mean, some of those in my mind were reasons. And we don't have to get into the particulars of any of this, but like there were things in my mind that were reasons. But I think because I stayed with it, right? Len, your point for months, right? That it then was I was leaning into it far too heavy. Like it was a reason. It
I think
actually
because you
was
didn't
a
have a
reason.
plan. Because you didn't have a plan B.
Yeah.
You didn't have a plan B.
The reasons were the reasons, but then I started to use them as excuses, right? And it was like, oh, that seems easier to use that as an excuse
Yeah. Versus, I
versus
think your
do
fear of
something
change. Well,
else.
you had a fear of change
Yeah.
at that time for certain reasons in your life, and
Yeah.
I think that especially with like your good friends and your family members, you all this I hope this resonates with all of you. I think you start to hear excuses. Like when you know someone well and they're lamenting over and over and over again. And oftentimes we feel exasperated or we feel a little impatient with them because they're still talking about something.
Yeah.
Because you might be feeling as a respondent or the listener, you might be thinking they're making excuses.
Yeah.
You might. I'm not sure. But I know for me with you, like I felt impatient with you because I was like, make a decision, make a decision. Because I started to feel, like I said, impatient and a little exasperated
Yeah.
because I wanted you, because it felt like excuses.
Yeah.
And I think that you were so stuck. It took you a while. You're like your feet were in cement. You couldn't and you wouldn't move forward to make a decision.
Yeah.
And then when you did, and it was over. It was just over. No more excuse. No
Yeah.
more,
And that's
excuses.
a good example too, because like if I could have like gotten myself out of that, it's almost like that wash machine or toilet bowl thing where it's just you're spinning around
Yeah.
and around. If
Yeah.
I could have like gotten myself to the side for a second, let's say, right, and grabbed onto something and said, hang on a second, I'm using those reasons as excuses now.
Mhm.
I need to stop that and I need to move forward and do something different.
Okay. So number 4 is the relief test, which I think this is interesting. When I was doing my research on this, I didn't know this ahead of time. So this is new to me. So ask yourself, do I feel relief after saying this? So like maybe you're talking about something you did or didn't do, can or can't do, and you're thinking about, okay, is that an excuse or a reason? Do you feel relief after making that statement? Relief is a clue that you just bought comfort instead of progress, which I think is really insightful. You so if you bought comfort, you made an excuse. If you're buying into progress, then you may have, yeah, I feel relieved because this is a reason,
Yeah.
and I feel relieved. I've made a decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And number 5 is the cost test. A reason includes a cost you're willing to pay. An excuse avoids cost entirely.
Mm.
Okay.
How much do you think a person is aware? Like self-awareness is always a big thing we talk
This is
about.
big. This is a big self-awareness is throughout this entire episode today.
Yeah.
And I think that it would behoove you, the listener, to maybe do some more deep dive work on self-awareness because you're right, Tim. You have to spend some time. This is the metacognitive work of thinking about your thoughts and thinking about your feeling your feelings, but thinking about your feelings, thinking about why you feel the way you feel, and thinking about why you think the way you think, and that takes time, and that's how we move into self-awareness is the metacognition. And this whole episode is really about doing some real honest work. We also in coaching may call it an inventory, taking an inventory of yourself, just being brutally honest about, how am I showing up in life? How am I showing up in life to myself? Do I have reasons? Do I have excuses? And if I have excuses, where are they? When do I make excuses? And why is that?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
how much of that happens in real time? Right? Like is that where you're coaching your person to be able
totally. This is
to
what I coach.
right? But to
Yes.
be able to in real time almost like make that right-hand turn where every other time I've gone straight, right? Like it okay, I'm seeing now, I'm hearing now that I have a reason, but I'm spinning it into an excuse and I'm aware that I'm doing it like right now.
Some
Can I
people need help.
change
Yeah.
myself?
Some people need help sussing that out. And
Yeah.
and so I understand that this can be, an episode that can be confusing for certain individuals. I hope that I'm helping you suss it out by giving you, asking you these questions and giving you, some thought leadership, sort of ways of thinking to help you differentiate for yourself in your life where you're making excuses and where you have good reasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does a person have to have success doing that once or twice before they understand that like okay I can change myself like do I
Absolutely.
right
Yeah.
like is it
Yeah.
do you
Yeah.
need to get to the point where you've succeeded kind of like where like we always talk about like in sport like you have to like you learn a lot from failure but like every once in a while when you succeed you're like oh that's it the
You,
difference is I made the changes I made got me to this now.
I think you just have to have a win, even just one win.
Yeah.
It's a self-supportive to keep on going.
Yeah,
Yeah, doing the hard
and
thing.
then you can possibly change yourself for the
Right.
better going
You
forward.
gotta want it. This
Yeah.
is very personal for all of us. I mean, nobody can make you do any of this. You just gotta want it. All right. This is why this is all personal development. This is why
Yeah.
I'm talking about it. Because if you want to, advance yourself in your person, if you're interested and you're curious, if you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening to this on a podcast, then yes, you're interested in personal development. That's why you're still here listening now. Okay. So I want to talk about a little bit of nuance because, sometimes excuses that people make really are certain individuals' capacity limits. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. Okay. So some people do have capacity limits and we think they're excuses and they really might not be. So when you're dealing with a clinical, mental health condition like a clinical depression, maybe a clinical you have a diagnosed anxiety disorder, you have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADD, ADHD, you're in grief, you are truly going through grief of some sort, you're in a grieving process. I don't think that this is even a time for you to think about excuses or reasons. And if you have excuses, then have all the excuses you want. You're grieving something or you're there's a loss, grief and loss, trauma. There could be a trauma load that you're carrying around. You may be dealing with chronic illness. You may be in a caregiving overload, caregiving another person. Everything goes out the window with what I just said if you're dealing with all this. Okay. So I want to throw that to you because you have capacity limits right now. And maybe in your future, you'll get to a place where you can start to continue to work and advance your personal development when it comes to excuses and reasons. But if you're dealing with anything that's a clinical mental health diagnosis, or you've got grief and loss, like I just said, or trauma, or you're in a or you're caregiving somebody else, okay, listen to this episode, watch this episode, and just kind of tuck this away in the back of your mind for another day. Okay. I want to say that
Makes sense.
because,
Yeah.
you throw compassion to yourself. I throw compassion to you. I throw empathy to you, and I throw you grace. This is an episode for you just to listen to and to do nothing else with it. Okay. Really, really important. All right. So, here is the difference with excuses and reasons, with people who have a capacity limit. So those are their reasons, like I just said, why they're not, doing the thing. This is where my nervous system is right now. And I'm going to scale, I'm going to get support, or I'm going to change the plan. But I can't do any more than I am right now because you are at a capacity limit. Right. We talked about this before, like that caregiving.
Mhm.
Was it that caregiving episode, the one on anger,
Yeah.
about what your limits are?
Yeah.
Okay. Excuses are, so I guess I just can't. So I guess I just can't. Okay. So, that might be, no, it's not, I guess I just can't. I have capacity limits and I cannot, and am not available, and I'm not willing to do that right now. And maybe that's something that I will be able to do in the future. It's just not for me right now. Okay.
All right. Makes sense.
You don't have to gaslight yourself into, I should be able to. Don't do that. All right. And we consider don't should on yourself. Should's a thought distortion. But you do have to tell the truth about what you're choosing. Okay. So for you, you have to tell the truth about what you're choosing. Be honest with yourself. All right. Okay. So, whew, power moves. Let's do some power moves as we start to wrap up
You
this
gotta take a
episode.
deep breath.
I know. I'm trying to get a lot of information in here, and I don't want to overwhelm all of you, but this is an important episode.
Well, it's more than just important. I think it's real. I think it's like this is something that we all
It's something we all do.
probably do
We
every
all do.
single day,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And if we don't do it every single day, someone else does
Can I tell
to
you?
us.
Can I tell you that I try to make excuses every day for myself? I'm telling you, I have that little devil, that excuse devil on my shoulder every day.
It's the
Everybody,
excuse fairy, by the way.
I find excuses for why I don't write out my newsletter. Why I don't want to work out when I said I was going to at 8 a.m. Well, I don't feel like it because I want to go eat breakfast, and I have a really yummy breakfast planned. I I can't tell you. Like, I don't want to sit down and write the book because I have ADHD. My monkey mind would rather actually get on TikTok and scroll TikTok because I enjoy TikTok very much. So I do find excuses and tell myself excuses all day long. And then I have to tell myself, stop it. Like, I probably look like in my mind, I look like a crazy person because I'm like, cut it out, Anna, stop it. You need to get it done. What I do is I tell myself, when you get in bed tonight, what is one or two things that you will be proud of yourself for having done? So it's always working out 6 days a week, which I do. I try. And if I don't, I'm pretty good about that. But for me, it's more the details of my business. Like, I want to feel proud that I sent an email about a speaking engagement to 2 people. And that for me is a win. That's a win. I'm like, okay, good girl. Like, I pat myself on the back. I want to be able to do that. And I have gotten to bed so many times at night when I have not done the things that I said I would do that day because I made excuses.
Yeah.
So I'm right there with all of you. I don't do it as much as I used to because I've set up a system for myself, and I grapple with it on the daily.
Yeah. So do you think, I mean, so now I'm thinking, now I have a lot of faces in my head right now, right? After a little story you just shared about well, I do that like every single day. Yeah. Right. You just said that.
Yeah.
So do you think some people just enjoy that game? Like that game to them is
No, I don't. I don't think people enjoy it. I really don't. I
You
think
don't-
it's a form of existential suffering, actually.
I don't know.
I don't think people enjoy giving excuses. I really don't. Because deep down inside, you keep blowing off that run. It doesn't make you feel better about yourself. It's hard work. We don't like doing it. But when you're done, you're like, oh, I feel really good. It's like a source of pride.
Yeah.
No, I think I do think it's like an existential suffering. All of us living in our heads, making excuses for why we don't do the damn thing in life we said we do.
Yeah.
Because we all said we do it, and
Yeah.
we're not doing it.
I disagree with you. I think there are people out there that enjoy that game.
Mm,
right? I think there are people that
I
enjoy
don't know
that
them.
game of offering excuses because it gets them what they want, and it gets them what they want every single time.
But you don't know, Tim. Why are they making excuses? They said they wanted something and they make an excuse. I think there's more to it that's deep for them as to why they're not getting the thing done.
I think that can be true, and I also think it can be true that people just like, okay, I want to leave the workout every time 10 minutes early, and I'm just going to come up with the most creative excuse I can this week. I truly think that there are
Okay.
people like that
I'm sure
too.
there are certain
Yeah,
individuals. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Okay. So let's go on to power moves as we're ending this episode. Okay. So number one, replace your excuse with a choice. Okay. Really important. So this is
Mm,
how this is going to help you move out of making excuses and into your reasons, right? So instead of saying I can't, I want you to say I'm choosing not to prioritize this right now. Well, that's really important. So that's a like a paradigm shift in thinking rather than I can't. No, I'm choosing not to prioritize this thing in my life right now. Okay. That sentence burns and it sets you free because you're showing your self agency. Okay. Versus just, I can't. All right. Really good. So, number one, replace that excuse with a choice. All right. Your power move number two, always keep a minimum viable version. All right. So, create a floor, not a fantasy. Create that floor for yourself. So let's say it's 10 minutes of movement. All right. This is your floor. 5 sentences of writing, like for me, writing the book, or 5 sentences of journaling for you. Maybe it's one email. All right. Maybe it's a glass of water in the morning and making sure you get protein in at breakfast, not
mm.
all carbs. Okay. So just create that floor. All right. If you can't do the plan, then do the floor. And so that's what I said earlier on in the episode about then make adjustments. These are your adjustments, but it's also your floor. I love that visual.
Yeah.
You've got a floor. No, I can't do the 45 minutes. And maybe for the swimmer we're talking about, maybe the floor was, but I can do 45. I can't do 60 minutes. I'm not going to do 60 minutes, but I'll do 45.
Yeah.
So
I,
he
I
created
would
a floor for
I would
himself.
be better matched with a 45-minute class than a
There.
60.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right. So, power move number three. I want you to name the real price. Okay. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding paying? All right. What are you avoiding paying for? Are you avoiding the effort? Are you avoiding feeling like a failure or looking at the possibility of failure? Are you avoiding boredom? Because a lot of these things that we have to do in life are boring. Are you avoiding discipline? Are you avoiding disappointment? Are you avoiding that you might disappoint yourself or that you might disappoint somebody else? I think it's more important for us. I think that we avoid disappointing ourselves.
Mm.
So we just don't ever start. Are you avoiding vulnerability? Okay. And then you need to decide if you're going to pay for that. All right. Are you going to pay the price? That's the real price, is all of that. Knowing, because you have to sit with yourself and know at some level, when you're making excuses over and over again versus having, real reasons. Okay. Okay. Your next power move, the if then integrity plan. Okay. So if I get home exhausted, then I'm going to lift weights for 8 minutes. And I have clients who do this. Anna, I did 10 minutes. Okay, that's a wonderful. You did 10 minutes versus your 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Who cares? You did 8 or 10 minutes. You did like real three, like fast too, and you get your heart
Yeah.
rate up. You did like 3 sets of 10 or 12 like RDLs, Romanian deadlifts, and you did like a couple sets of back squats. You did some, like shoulder press. You did the big four and you did them fast. That's amazing. So you did 8 or 10 minutes. You didn't do a full workout.
Yeah.
Fine, because you're tired and you had a busy day.
But
All right.
it's got to have a positive twist at the end.
Yes. Well, you usually walk away from that feeling pretty darn good
Yeah.
because you did 10
Yeah.
minutes, right?
Because you could also say, if
You do this all the time,
get
Tim.
home late,
You do it at night.
then I'm going to go sit on the couch and watch TV for 30 minutes. Like you could spin it the other way
Yeah.
too, right? Like,
Yeah.
So don't.
But this is your integrity plan. This
Yeah.
helps you build up integrity. So, or you may say to yourself, like, if I miss a day, then I'll restart tomorrow morning. That's okay. I got home at 8 o'clock and I'm exhausted. No, I'm not going to work out. I'm not working out at home.
Yeah.
I am going to watch a streaming show, and then I'm going to bed. And I'm going to restart tomorrow morning And there is no punishment here. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a reason for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So this prevents the like, well, I blew it spiral, which we worry about in this time of year that many people are going to do. You know,
True.
don't spiral in, oh, I blew it. You know, it's just so why continue? No, tomorrow's a new day. Pick yourself up, keep going. You got this. Start over tomorrow. Okay. Tim and I have to do this.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Right. Exactly.
1,000%.
Okay, so your next power move. Stop using feelings as edgeability criteria. This big, people, for all of us, big. Motivation is not the entry ticket. If you've listened to my podcast for any amount of time, you know I always say with anything in life, it's not about being motivated because you're not going to be motivated most of the time. Commitment is your engine. Commit to something and stay consistent. Okay. So don't use your feelings as eligibility criteria. All right. Your next power move, I want you to ask yourself this one brutal question. Is this a fact or a story that protects me?
There you go.
Good question, huh? Is this a fact? What you're saying to yourself, is it a story that I'm telling myself to protect myself from not doing the thing?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good question. Next one, next power move. Build a reasons list, not an excuse list. All right. So I talk, I have clients will make lists. I want you to do a reasons list. Okay. Reasons come with a strategy. So it's like, I've got Anna, I have no time. Okay. I'm protecting 20 minutes before the house wakes up. Okay. I'm protecting 20 minutes before the house wakes up.
That's
so
fair.
you do have time.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm way too overwhelmed right now. I'm just too overwhelmed. So what am I going to do? I'm going to cut the goal in half and I'm going to get some support around this. So I can't do all of it, but I'll cut it in half and I'm going to get some support. That's actually a wonderful goal and good on you that you need to do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And your final power move is let's do an integrity check. At the end of the week, am I going to respect the choices I made? There's your integrity check. At the end of the week, am I going to respect the choices that I made? If not, you've got to renegotiate your choices. Okay? Do it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think if you're willing to do that, then you also, prior to that, you need to be willing to take a look at some of the situations you are put in or put yourself in. There are going to be times where it's like reason, excuse, which is which am I leaning on more, right? Before I can assess then and take stock in like what I just did for that entire week.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
And you don't have to answer it now. You can put it in the show notes. So is there, as a coach, right? And you can fill in the word coach. Coach could be a manager. Coach could be a coach. Coach could be a personal development coach. Coach could be a lot of different things. So when you get that person that offers what clearly is an excuse, right? Like, it's not an actual reason. They have actually gone through the whole, like, no, I'm going to use this to my advantage. What would be something?
When I work with another coach?
No. You're listening to your client.
Yeah.
You're listening to your athlete. You're listening to your employee. What could be a good response when in real time, and you probably know that they know, that what they're saying is an excuse, right? Like without like completely like taking all filters off and just 100% calling them out on exactly that. Is there some kind of response? Is it a question that we could ask?
I say there's excuses and there's reasons, and you're giving me a lot of excuses.
Okay.
And if you've worked with me, you know I've said that to you.
Yeah.
For those who have struggled with this.
Yeah.
That's the start. And everyone, almost everyone, when I make that statement, they go, yeah, they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because we know when we're making excuses, they understand it.
Yeah.
There's excuses and there's reasons, and you're giving me a lot of excuses.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, damn it, Anna. I just had a client a couple weeks ago who said to me, that was That was tough. That
Yeah.
was some tough love, Anna. And thank you. She came back and said, thank you so much for that, because I knew the truth deep down inside. I knew I was making excuses, and you called me out on it, and I didn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And you know what she did? She totally changed her schedule and her way of behaving right back around to how it was when we first started working together, and she got back on track.
Yeah. I hear you.
I think when you hear that, if it resonates for you, then there's some truth on the inside for you about excuses.
Right. Right.
Because if I didn't think that somebody was making excuses, I wouldn't say that to them.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I have coaching clients who do have a lot, are also dealing with. I had a coaching client who was coaching for quite a while and was dealing with a major illness, of a diagnosis of a terrible illness of her spouse. And we had to I had to revamp everything I was doing with her to make accommodations for this now new illness that unfortunately presented itself in their life. So I still coached her for quite a bit of time after that, having to change the action steps and the goals for her, really the goals and then the strategy and the action steps, because she could no longer do what she first set out to do with me, because she now was becoming a caregiver. And so, was she making in the beginning excuses for why she couldn't get things done? No, she had reasons. I would never say to her, there's excuses and reasons in life and you're making excuses. I would
Sure.
never say that.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't making excuses. Life threw her a curveball, and I'm telling you, it just like smacked her in the face and knocked her over.
Yeah.
So my job was to be there for her and to help to pick her up and to help her find new goals and find, for her it was new reasons, and the whole thing shifted really.
Yeah.
This is not a person who actually makes excuses. And
Typically. Yeah.
But I found the beginning, and I didn't really know what was going on in the beginning. And I'm like, what's going on? She's not like her. This is not like her, because I've known her for quite a while. And then I think that there are reasons why this person didn't want to tell me. I think they weren't sure of a diagnosis. They were going through a lot of testing before my client told me what was really going on. But during those sessions of like 4 to 6 weeks, I'm like, what's happening? What's going on? Like, I don't really understand why. Okay. And I'm gentle. Like, I'm not going to call you out like that. Like, okay, well, maybe she's going through a rough patch right now. And oh, you okay? Everything okay? Like, what's happening? And okay, all right. And I'm like, what's happening? It's unlike her.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, I knew something was up, and that's what was up.
Yeah.
So if I say to you, there's excuses and reasons in life, and you're making excuses, I'm probably picking up on something.
Sure.
And I have had it said to me.
Yeah.
From my triathlon coaches.
Yeah. So I love
and other coaches, actually.
I love that response in a one-on-one setting.
Yeah.
Right. And I know who listens to this podcast. I know some folks that listen to it, right? And that's not their world. Their world is more of a broader scope. Like there's a bigger group.
You
of
talk
folks.
about management in the workplace, sort of thing.
Yeah. So is there something? And I'm gonna work on this for myself to try and figure out like what would be a great response when in a meeting somebody clearly is throwing out excuses for this or that. And it's not appropriate to call them out and saying, well, there's reasons and excuses, although you could.
I see.
Right?
No, that wouldn't be appropriate.
That would not be appropriate to
that.
say it in a public.
Okay, so we're talking about the work setting. We're talking about corporate management.
But
right.
there must be some type of response where you can allude to the fact that like, hey, I'm not quite buying it. And I'm pretty sure everybody in this room's not buying it also.
So now we're going a little bit more macro, and that's a good question. For that situation with, let's say you're the person and you're running it, you have a team meeting and someone, you find that there's a pattern here where this person's making excuses as to why they're not getting things done. That's the person you take aside after the meeting. You do not confront them in front of others. To me, it's unprofessional, and that's not the sign of a leader. That's not leadership. You pull them aside later. You say, hey, you got a minute? Let's talk. And you go have a talk with them, and you speak with them one-on-one about excuses, reasons, and maybe you want to talk a little bit about character and integrity. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how you do that. You don't call people out in front of others. That's a whole other, don't do that.
Yeah.
It's not right.
Yeah.
It's shaming of the individual. It's not just the person wouldn't just feel guilty, they'd feel embarrassed and ashamed. Don't do that to your employees.
Sure.
And if you
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it, you need to stop doing it and you need to correct it and you need to pull them. You always take them aside and talk to them one-on-one.
yeah.
Okay.
No, that makes sense. I think the scenarios I'm thinking about are like when like everyone in the room knows that this person is offering another excuse, and it's like, really, like we're all like,
Okay.
okay,
So you talk to them.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All right. Let's start to close out because we're well over an hour now. All right. So here are some takeaways for you from this episode today. Okay. So reasons are honest limits plus a new plan. Okay. You've got reasons, but and you're honest about what your limits are. You're coming up with a new plan. All right. Excuses, they can be comforting stories that we tell ourselves to protect ourselves from discomfort. Okay.
mm,
So I want you to think about the differences between those two for yourself in your life. The difference is whether you stay in motion. The difference is whether you stay in motion. So you can have reasons, but keep progressing, stay in motion. Excuses can make you just stop. Okay? So I hope that's helpful for you, all right? So when you think about, because even you and I, you talked, a little bit on this episode of going back and forth about, okay, was that really a reason? Was that an excuse?
yeah.
It can be hard to suss out the differences, but I hope that this episode today helped you, Tim, and helped all of you who are watching and listening suss out the differences between excuses and reasons that we make in our lives. We're all doing this. We're all in this together. Okay.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And this is a tough one. And I'm talking about it because I've been talked to about this before from my coaches.
yeah. There you go.
And I never forgot it. It has changed me. And I think about it all the time. I now use it in my coaching practice. And I think it's it was game changing for me in my life. And it's game changing for people once they start to think along the lines of excuses versus reasons.
Perfect.
All right. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast with 5 stars. And mad love. We'll see you next time.